Hi, I'm Sam, your resident fantasy reader,
And I'm Morgan, your romance reader, and we welcome you to Just One More Page.
where it's never just one more page.
Hey!
Hello! Sam, guess what?
What?
It's very warm outside today, and I'm so
I
happy.
know, it's 71 degrees. I have my windows open. It's amazing.
Oh, do you? I have my door
Yeah,
open downstairs. It's so nice outside. I went to work this morning and I put on my jacket, my winter jacket, and I stepped outside. I was like, wait, hold on a minute. Where am I? Let me take this jacket off. Let me
right?
throw it in the mud. I'm so sick of wearing my winter jacket. I cannot wait until the warm weather comes. Although, when it gets to warm weather, at least down the south, it's like hell because it's so hot and sticky and I don't like it. I don't like it. So I'm no, either way I don't like it. But I am how was your week, Sam? Anything
Uh,
fun? Anything interesting? Anything crazy?
no, I started my first day of clinical this week, so that means
Oh,
I go to
okay.
the hospital and go work for free. So that was fun.
Yeah, I did not do anything this no, I did. I worked a lot this week. But Sam, guess what? I finished my
But
10th book of the month. I think I
yay!
think I might hit my goal of 150 books, which I think is
Days of
great.
Crow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so happy about that. Although I do want to fight a coworker because he kept telling me that I shouldn't count audiobooks as reading. And I was like, no, sir, I may be 4'11", but I will jump on a stool real quick and, and I will jump on you because how dare, that's, I feel like one of the biggest trigger for a reader is when people are like, audiobooks don't count as real books. I'm like, no, my anger that courses through me. I may be short, but do not start with me, this sir. No, thank you. But yeah, I think this week has been pretty boring, cold. But now that the weather is nicer, I'm very happy. Although yesterday, the last 2 days has been raining really quite bad, and I'm not a fan of that. But besides that, it's been a good week, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my week: reading books, watching Percy Jackson, and going on TikTok.
Yeah, I wait until Percy Jackson's done and then I'll binge it because I've seen the first two episodes. I don't know. I just don't have the time to like watch each individual episode, so I'll wait till like break and then maybe I'll just binge the whole thing.
Yeah, I honestly think I stopped watching. I haven't watched the latest episode, so I think I might do what you did. Although I think there's only like 2 episodes left, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But I don't know. I really, really, really love the series, and I think they did a fantastic job. So, Sam,
So Morgan.
would you like to hear about our listeners' recommendation for the week?
Yeah, I'm just excited someone did it. So like because I definitely was a Hail Mary for user participation. So yeah, I want to hear our first person.
Let's hear our listeners' recommendation for the week.
Hi, this is Robert. I like to do reading challenges for the year, and I pick a theme. Last year, I picked time travel novels, and I had so much fun with it. I read some really great ones, 11/22/63 by Stephen King, Recursion by Blake Crouch, a lot of other really great ones, Kindred. But I think my one of my favorites and probably the most unexpected gem was something called Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemore. I found it in a bargain section for $3, and it was just such a surprise. It was so much fun. It's about a woman who lives her life out of order. As soon as she turns 18, she suddenly wakes up in her 50-year-old body. She spends a year in her 50-year-old body and 50-year-old life. Then she wakes up on her next birthday in her 27-year-old body, and it just she bounces around in her own life, kind of trying to hang on as best she can. And it was just such a fun, exciting book. And it was all the more exciting because I just kind of stumbled upon it in the bargain section. I ended up reading two other books, the only other two from that same author. One of them, Asleep from Day, was also phenomenal. I actually reached out to the author. She wrote me back. I told her how much the book's meant to me, but I highly recommend Una Out of Order. it was just a really fun, different kind of time travel book. And it really made me think about the people in my life and where I am in life and how I got there. And it was just a lot of fun. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Robert, for the book recommendation. Also, Sam, I low key think this is a bad idea because
Wow.
I have a feeling that I'm going to be buying so many books now because, like, all the books that people are going to recommend are going to sound so good. And this book sounds like so amazing. I low key bought the ebook. Will I read it?
Nice.
Maybe. But it does sound so interesting. And I also really
Yeah.
like the fact that he has a whole reading theme of the year. That sounds really cool. I wish I could do that, but I am a mood reader, so there's no way I could plan anything out like that. Would you do something like that? Like where you would have like a theme for the year of books that you
Um,
would want to read?
I don't know. I think I would be like all gung ho for it at the beginning and then just like let it fall away by like March. Be like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna totally do this, and then just not do it. But
I
I
think
mean, good for him because like it's a good way to like explore different genres that you don't really
mhm.
necessarily would have like looked for. And the cool thing about him doing what he did is like he found this book at a thrift shop and ended up being one of his like top reads of ever. And so that's
Yeah.
amazing. And I'm
That's
definitely when I get some time to check it out because it sounds like a really really interesting concept, and I kind of want to see like how the author kind of pulls it all together. So
I honestly think that the whole idea of this book sounds really interesting to me, and I cannot wait to read it. Like I said before, I did buy the ebook because I have no self control. But, anyways, if you guys would like to be on the podcast, recommend a book, then please go to memo.fm/just one more page, and your book recommendation will be played on the podcast. But now back to your regular podcast, I guess. Anyways,
insert
anyways,
interlude here.
yes. So today we're going to be talking and discussing a thriller mystery from Kate Alice Marshall called No One Can Know. So this novel follows three sisters whose parents were murdered in their home. Years later, none of the sisters have spoken to each other. Emma, the middle child, finds out that she's pregnant. But to make matters worse, her husband has lost a job and their bank account is in the red. Not having many choices, Emma is forced to move back home with her husband. But returning home means that Emma is forced to face the past, especially when the small townspeople haven't forgotten about the past. But when Emma's sisters start to turn up, she begins to realize that things that she left unspoken all those years ago have put them all in danger once again. Now, we did receive this novel as an audiobook from Netgalley and Flatration Books. I do apologize if I said that wrong. So thank you so much for allowing us to listen to this book early for a honest review. Now, Sam, what did you think about this thriller mystery?
I enjoyed it. I kind of guessed. I guessed
Yeah.
some of it. Some of it I didn't guess. Like I put a lot of the pieces together. There were a couple things that were kind of like that came out of nowhere. I was worried because it's three POVs, and not only is it three POVs, but it's going back and forth in time. And sometimes it isn't when it's not done well, it can be very, very confusing. And I feel like it was actually done pretty well in this book. Like you could still follow the storyline as it was going. So I enjoyed it overall. I mean, a little bit of predictability. The characters kind of like told you what was going on instead of just like shrouding it all in mystery and everything. But I still enjoyed it
Yeah.
overall.
What did you rate the book?
I gave it 4 stars.
I actually gave it 3 stars.
Okay.
Okay, because like, listen, I'm not a thriller reader. You know me, I'm a romance reader. I swoon over my romance novels. And, I do try to enjoy thrillers because I feel like I'm a wannabe thriller reader where I do enjoy them, but I don't seek them out. And I can't really tell you like what a good thriller is because I have nothing to compare it against. But I will
Hmm.
say that overall I did enjoy the story, but I just felt like the who done it part was solved way too fast. Like I felt like you I solved it out really fast. I knew who it was. Like, there were signs. You could figure it out. If you watched true crime, you would have known right away who murdered who. And there was parts of the story that did make me gasp and surprised. I was like, "Oh my god, that what? What?" But I just felt like the twist could have been better. On top of that, I just did not like the different points of view and going back in time and doing all that. I just wasn't a like, I just did not like that. I kept getting lost. I kept forgetting who was who. And also, like, we did listen to this book as a audiobook because we did it get as an early release via an audiobook. I just kept forgetting whose point of view I was in. And maybe it would have been better if I read the book, like, you know, as an ebook or even as a physical copy, because I kept
Mhm.
forgetting whose point of view I was, like, listening to. And I just felt like their personalities, although Daphne was definitely different, JJ and Emma's point of view just felt like it was sometimes the same, and it took me a second to realize who was talking. So I really did wish that that was more character development, or at least it was just in one singular point of view, and maybe the singular point of view, the narrator is not reliable until like the end, and you're kind of being like, well, is this person actually telling the truth? That would have been a lot more interesting of a book to read rather than three different points of view. Now, did I like the fact that I was three sisters and I have, you know, two sisters and I'm also the middle child like Emma? Yes, I did. And did I tell my older sister about this book? We both talk about who would be who would have done it in our and my siblings? Yes. um but yeah, no, I'm just cracking jokes, by the way. I'm not being serious. But I really enjoy it. I just feel like the writer was going somewhere with the story but failed to really catch me, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. But yeah, that's kind of what I thought about the book. I really don't have anything else I want to add unless you do.
No, not really. I mean, this is the kind of book where it's kind of hard to like
Talk
talk about
about.
it without spoiling it because I mean there's a lot of layers to it, and so it's basically like you give a rating and you say how you felt about it, and that's about it. Like you can't really go into much more detail without giving up some parts of this book.
Yes, I do agree. I definitely feel like we should go into our spoiler section. So, if you have not read this book and you would like to go do so, then please go check out last week's episode in which we read really, really cute book called Most Ardently, which was a Pride and Prejudice retelling. It was super, super cute. Go check that one out and then come back and maybe read the book and listen to this. If you don't care to be spoiled or you've already read this book, then please stay along and we will talk about this book.
Dun, dun,
So,
dun.
what would you? Yes. So, submission. I don't know. Can you tell I'm tired right now? I'm trying. Listen, listeners, I'm so sorry. I'm so tired right now. I stayed up very late last night. Not reading. I was totally not reading. But, anyways, let's talk about this book, Sam. Where would you like to start off first?
Okay, I could have done without the Nathan's a cheater storyline, but at the same time, when we found out that the woman he was cheating, like it's just so sleazy. Like, was there ever like a house that fell through, or what? Or was like the plan the whole time for him to like convince Emma to go back to her family's home? And like, it's like which came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, did the house fall through and then the mistress and him kind of be like, oh hey, this is like a grand opportunity, or were they scheming the whole time for this to happen and then made the house fall through? Like I don't really I don't know how all that kind of like pieces together into the story. And then I mean he's unalived anyway, so RIP, but still I was just like, I don't really feel like that was a necessary plot line to put into the story. I mean, they could have just killed him off anyway with him just snooping around, and like the rest of it just be like is what it is.
Well, I feel like the whole cheating thing made sense to me because it kind of taking notes from Emma's father, because Emma's
Mm-hmm.
father treated his mother like, or her mother like crap. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel like it was kind of showing that Emma has lost so much of herself that she would put up with someone cheating on her because she knew that Nathan was cheating on her. And she just like kind of was like, she didn't forgive it, but like she just kind of like let it go. And it just showed how much of a person Emma changed. On top
Mm-hmm.
of that, I do think that I have a feeling that Nathan was still with this lady, was still cheating. Like,
Well,
we learned
yeah,
that
because
she's, I mean, so, but I have a
yeah.
feeling that he was trying to get money, more money from the house, and then he was going to break up with her. Although I do help can't but wonder, maybe he felt bad because she got pregnant and that's why he said,
Well, I mean, I think the pregnancy was the monkey wrench in the whole
yeah.
like issue because now like it just adds this like extra piece to it of oh god, because I mean they never the child wasn't an expected pregnancy. So it's like, well, we're just gonna have her sell the house, put it into the marital assets, and then get divorced, and then like you're scot free, you're clean. But now like the kids involved, and so that like messes the whole thing up. So that was interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of feel like he was there to kind of be like her father in some ways, of her like still seeking out those abusive relationships, although she like doesn't want it, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
It's kind of like trauma in some ways where she keeps putting herself back in that situation. And I think it's so funny, not funny, but it's funny how Daphne went to Nathan and her's wedding, and Daphne was like, "Nope, you don't deserve him," or he doesn't. Yeah, was like, "I thought you'd do better," kind of
Hmm.
thing, because I think Daphne could see that um, Emma was just putting herself back in this bad, you know, cycle again. And Daphne could tell that Nathan was not the guy for her. But I also really like the fact that her and Gabriel, like, so I thought that her and
Hmm.
Gabriel would have this romantic relationship, but they didn't. And I think that was actually a really good thing because Gabriel was a lot older than her, and like what seems like a lot older than her when she was like back then. And I
Yeah.
think it made more sense towards like later on, after, maybe after the book ended, we do find out, or really in the main story ends, we do find out that they have gone on dates, and it's like, nothing too serious. So I do appreciate the fact that it didn't take her, she didn't move on like that. It wasn't like, oh, my husband's dead, now I'm gonna get with you, kind of thing. So I'm glad that there
Hmm.
was some sort of waiting and stuff like that. Now, did you think that Emma settled for Nathan?
I mean, she said that she settled for him
Yeah.
because she was like, I chose him, and so he is my choice. And like, even though all these bad things keep happening in the relationship, that she's not really like fully in love with him. Like she's like, I made my choice and I chose him, so I'm going to continue to choose him, even though like she already knew about the cheating and she like knew this wasn't like the relationship she should have been in. But I mean, her whole life, what like choices were made for her. Her parents
Yeah.
told her mom was making her play the piano, and they told her
Well,
where she was
isn't
going to go
that
to school.
Julia?
And no, all of them.
No, so yeah, well, yeah, you're
So
right. Because
Julia was the prodigy,
yeah,
and Emma was trying to go to art school, but her mom was forcing her to like learn the piano and stuff. And she said that Julia was like the perfect child who knew how to do it, and that like her fingers couldn't like play the piano
mhm,
very well, like they kept tripping over the keys. But it was like her mom like was like she picked out their clothes and their color schemes and
yeah.
said that where they were going to go to school and what their extracurriculars were going to be. And I mean, choices were constantly made for them. So when she finally made her choice, it was like, that is what I'm going to stick with because I made that choice, good, bad, or indifferent. I chose Nathan, but
Yeah.
she settled for Nathan. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like, girl, you could have done, like, if you can make a choice, you can make another choice. But I don't,
Exactly.
she's so mentally messed up by her parents that it's hard to like see the fact that you can unchoose a choice.
So talking about her parents, do you think her parents, okay, yes, her dad physically attacked Emma,
Hmm.
but do you think her parents were also mentally abusive and like,
Oh,
would
100%.
100%,
100%.
yeah. Because
Um, I mean, that even the parents' relationship was kind of like borderline abusive to each other. When she said that, like, we were only allowed to go into dad's study when we were like explicitly given permission to do it, and we knew it was really bad if mom was standing there. And then as soon as like Emma was like bonking heads with them about where she was going to go to school, which her dad way overreacted on how like finding the applications and stuff. Like her mom just kind of went along with the abuse by going upstairs and destroying everything.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's
it's just
sad.
so messed up.
Is really messed up. So another thing I do want to point out is how parents were murdered.
Hmm.
So, the father was shot in the back of the head and the mother, you think the mother was also killed by the same person, but the mother killed herself. And I think, and please correct me if you think I'm wrong, I think the mother decided to commit suicide because of the fact that she couldn't, like, she was thinking, one, to protect her daughter, maybe, but two, also because I don't think she could live life thinking that other people, like, with what other people would think of her. Because I think her mom lived in this world where she felt like everyone was gonna judge her for whatever she did. So when she
Hmm.
would wake up in the morning, she would make sure she would have her makeup on, which she would make sure she was dressed up like company was coming over. She had so much worry about how other people viewed her, maybe because of the way that she was raised. Maybe she was raised in a way in which people look down on her or whatnot, but she was she had such of this high of, like, I'm perfect, my daughters have to be perfect, they have to play the perfect instruments, they have to go to the perfect school, and then her husband gets murdered in front of her, even though she probably was going to do it eventually, let's be honest. And so she thinks to herself, like, I can't, like, see my friends, see the townspeople look at me and think that my daughter or whoever did it. So I'm going to take myself out of the equation. Do
Hmm.
you think the mom was being really selfish about that? Or do you, like, disagree with my thought process?
No, the mom was 100% selfish.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, all the way through. You're going to do this. You're going to follow my rules. You're going to present yourself in a certain way. No one's going to look down on me, because they even said that, like, she was trying to, like, get rid of this idea that she was the electrician's daughter. Um,
Hmm.
Especially in this town where it sounds like there's kind of like a divide where you have like the poorer side of town and then like the more affluent side of town. But I mean, that whole family was all about presentation. And
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell, I mean, when the mom was withholding the inhaler from Daphne because she
Oh,
kept saying that
yeah.
the asthma wasn't real. And you find out that the asthma wasn't legit, but the panic attacks were real. And then the
Yeah.
mom was forcing Daphne into panic attacks just so she can like get her out of it. And then telling her daughters where they can go to school, how they're supposed to dress, telling Julia, like, you need to practice this many hours a day on the piano, constantly watching them and everything. Because even Julia's like, well, if I play the part, Julia was like the real smart one in all of this because she
Yeah.
knew how to play the game. Because there was a moment where she goes, Mom only checks on me once because she knows I'm not going to do anything, so I don't have to worry about her coming and checking on me again. And Dad will never check on me. Like, she knew how to play the game. Emma was just the rebel,
Yeah.
and Daphne was just kind of like she was definitely odd. I mean, she's worried about poisonous plants and stuff. But yeah, I mean, everything was all about like, how can I control my environment? How can I control everything around me? And if you can't control how people think about you once your husband's dead, so I might as well kill myself. You can't
Yeah,
control that
no,
narrative.
no, you can't. And that's, I think, why she did it. And I think it's so selfish of her of doing it. But let's talk about Daphne being a psychopath. So, did you guess that Daphne had some sort of involvement in the father and the mother being murdered?
Oh yeah. Julia, well, JJ, had made a comment. I don't can't remember if it was in the past or the present, saying that like Daphne needs to be protected. She's weird and she's strange, and they can't find out how strange she actually is. So like
Hmm.
that kind of put a lot of the light on her. I was definitely back and forth between JJ and Daphne of who actually killed the parents officially, but Daphne was definitely like high up on the list of the ones who shot the parents.
Yeah.
But JJ had a really good reason too. I mean, she was playing this like perfect part, and all of a sudden it's like you just snap. Like at some
Yeah.
point you're just gonna snap. But
Well,
no, Daphne was definitely
yeah.
pretty high up on my list. I never once suspected Emma.
No, I didn't either. But I honestly thought that it was going to be a plot twist. It was going to be the sheriff who was involved with it. I thought
Hmm.
that maybe he has some sort of involvement, which he did in a way. But I thought that it would be the sheriff revealed. But the minute I found out that Daphne was torturing a mouse and that the father took care of it in the backyard, and then you find out that she's looking at poison and stuff like that, which, not saying that is a trait of being a psychopath, but
Mhm.
torturing animals, not having any empathy is definitely not a good thing at
Mhm.
all. So that made me think like, there's something really wrong with her. And then when I found out that she was like, she had snuck into the house and she had taken Emma's phone and turned on her location so she could track her. I was like,
Yeah.
there's something wrong with this lady. And so like, and then the whole dog walking thing, that's the minute I was like, you did it. You murdered your parents. I know it for a fact. But I also want to say that Emma also took care of older people. Oh no, I'm not sorry. Daphne took care of older people. Do you
Yeah.
think Daphne unalived anyone else?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think she
No,
unalived
she
any?
has like a weird fascination with death, but I don't think she killed her parents because they were terrible. Well, she killed her father because he's a terrible person.
Mm.
But I don't think she's killed anybody else. But I
I
think she
feel
has
like
the
she did.
ability to.
Yeah.
Just how she was talking to Ren at the end, I was just like, ah, you're a sociopath. But that's neither here nor there.
Now, I do want to touch back on JJ because I think that the writer did a great job at writing JJ's character, because JJ went from like being this perfect daughter, being this daughter who's doing everything right, and then her struggling internally because she is gay, and her having that kiss and having that kind of gay panic. That
Hmm.
I really like that side of the story because it showed JJ in a different light. And although, JJ, poor JJ, she probably thought that she really killed her parents, even
Hmm.
though she said all the time, like, I wish I did, but she didn't. And so it made me really happy the fact that JJ was able to find herself outside
Hmm.
of her parents and was able to go to college and was able to have those experiences, even though she probably was grieving her parents, even though, like, I'm sure that it's better that her parents were not there in her life.
Hmm.
But I do want to say that I really do appreciate the fact that when JJ was trying to figure out stuff, what happened, trying to like backtrack and trying to talk to Logan and stuff like that, she found out that her first kiss of the girl that was with him, that when she went to go look on her, like, social media, that she was happily married. And so JJ was like, well, I don't want to bring you back into this mess, so I'm just going to leave you alone. I think that
Right.
showed a lot for JJ, the fact that JJ had that barrier. I do wish, though, with the story, is that we got more of a, I don't know, I just kind of wish that it wasn't as predictable about who did it, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, it was kind of set up to where we knew it was going to be one of the sisters.
Yeah. Well, I would say like the only shocking part of this novel was the fact that Nathan died, because I didn't really expect that to happen, like, as like I thought it would eventually happen with
Hmm.
Gabriel being like, there, and it seemed like Gabriel was going to be a love interest, but I didn't expect Nathan to die right away. So, I mean, I guess he died halfway through the book, right, Sam?
Yeah, I was going to say it was a little. I mean, he was there for a little while,
Yeah.
just around enough and kind of, mm, I guess, stirred the pot a little bit before he died.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. I wanted more of a thriller. I wanted more of a mystery. I wanted like maybe one point of view. That's all I wanted. And I especially wanted the sheriff to get hit by a car. I mean, he got hit by a rock, but like, listen, he kind of overstepped just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Do you have any final thoughts about this novel?
I mean, I liked that it was multiple points of view and multiple timelines because instead of having the narrator or the like whoever would have been like the main person like constantly info dumping things or having to have like revelations of the past, we just kind of got to watch it happen side by side, and then it's just kind of all come to fruition as to like we now know the for the most part, we know what the story is. I mean, I feel like it's none of the narrators are 100% reliable because trauma, but I liked
Mhm.
that it was multiple points of view and different timelines. I mean, it was definitely wasn't like a thriller. It was just more of like a who done it kind of book. But overall, I enjoyed it. I'll continue with my 4 stars. I know it's got some problems, but I was along for the ride. I mean, I got through this book in like a day and a half, and I just like kept listening to it because it was like I don't know all the cliffhangers that would happen because it would be like Emma then and then JJ then or JJ now or whatever. So it would hop off a cliffhanger and then it would like move on to the next part of the story, and so you'd kind of have to wait to like finish what the revelation was. So I was like, well, I need to know what happens next. So then I just kind of like kept going with it. So overall, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I'll stay with 4 stars. So yeah, I'm just glad we did this book. So.
Yeah, I definitely think that we should read more thrillers because I think that we don't read too many of those. I think it's
Mm-mm.
mostly fantasy romance. So maybe this year we'll read some more. But if you guys are curious, next week we're going to be reading a novel from Catherine Harbour called Dark Fable. This novel is marketed as a magical heist that is similar to Six of Crows, which is a novel that I need to read. I know I need to read it. I have the original book. Like, I have the black sprayed edges that everyone is probably going to break into my house to get because I have not read the book, but I have the first edition of the book, if that makes
Mm.
any sense. I will read it eventually. Anyways, this novel follows Evie Wilder, an orphan who has the magical power to turn invisible. Because of this, she has attracted the attention of the Dark Fable, a legendary group of thieves who are known for spiriting away obscure and occult artifacts. Evie cannot resist the call, especially to have a new family, but she soon finds out that the Dark Fable's past may have their own secrets that might just be the answers she needs to figure out her past. Now, if you guys would like to leave a book recommendation to be played in the podcast, remember to go to memo.fm/justwarmerpage and your book recommendation will be put into the podcast episode. Also, remember to rate us on Spotify as it does help push our podcast out there. And also remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and basically anywhere else you can find a podcast, you know? And Sam will tell you about the rest of our fun socials.
Okay, so if you think we are absolutely hilarious, which fun fact, my friends, we are. We do have a TikTok. It is a Just One More Page podcast, and if you think if you want to like keep up on the stories and schedules and whatever else we decide to post, we do have an Instagram. It is Just More Page Official, and we are also Just More Page Official on Threads. So go ahead and check us out there. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will talk to you all next Sunday. So
Okay.
yeah,
Have a great Sunday.
yeah,
Bye.
bye.